Welcome to the Well Life Podcast, where we discuss our holistic approach to wellness and have conversations with experts across what we define as the 8 dimensions of wellness.
Yeah, today our guest is Nick Karalekas. Nick is the director of marketing at VMI Sports and host of 2 of his own podcasts, the Visioncast and Impact to Influence.
Awesome. Thanks for having me, guys.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for coming,
man.
bro. Appreciate it. So, quick connection, right? Nick and I went to high school together. Great athlete. Appreciate you having me. Your guy's been kind of right in the fitness, wellness realm for a while, right? I guess after kind of being an athlete. Love to jump into that a little bit, right? Kind of how you transitioned from being an athlete, what fitness was to you, how you kind of got into that, and then even how we get to VMI and kind of before that.
Sure. I mean, I was always into, let's call it fitness and bodybuilding type training like that. It really started when I was a kid. I guess you could say I was a chubbier kid. So like when me and my mom would go clothing shopping at Old Navy, she's like, "Honey, we got to go to the husky section."
That's me too.
Yeah, I remember Abercrombie was the
you know?
thing too. Yeah.
So that
Also, that feels terrible.
Yeah.
Right? It's like, we got to go. Let's just go to the husky section.
Yeah,
right?
so, right off the bat, I wasn't, like, berated. Everyone was bullied as kids. I think we should have a little more bullying. I think kids are a little soft these days, but that's just my 2 cents. But as time went on, I started really getting into baseball, and you really look up to those larger-than-life figures, right? Your Derek Jeters, your A-Rods, Ken Griffey Jr., all those guys that are whatever their performance. But those are the guys you put on that pedestal, and you constantly try and achieve that. And I was told as I got to high school, like, hey man, like you're definitely don't throw hard enough. You're not fast enough. You're definitely not strong enough. Like you got a good swing, but you have ways to go in terms of your performance. So, my dad, thankfully, I have 2 amazing parents who set a hell of a foundation for me in my life moving forward. At that stage in my life, I'm very grateful for that because not a lot of people have 1 parent, let alone 2.
Definitely.
So that was really where my foundation was at home. I was always instilled with a very strong work ethic. Well, and result comes with work. You kind of have to pay your dues, that type of shtick. Not going to get into the whole motivational thing.
We'll take some of it.
Always got to have some of that.
Exactly.
As corny as it could be, it's real.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I think through that, I was told certain things that I needed to progress, and there was really nothing, at least from my end, that I just want it that bad. Yeah. I was lucky enough to play college ball, and it kind of just adapted from there. I was one of the few people in the gym constantly in college. We didn't have a strength and conditioning coach, so you kind of had to be about it, you would think. But no. We were ranked, honestly, before I got there. I think we were like 25th in the nation, Division II, nationwide. Didn't even have a strength and conditioning
so still
coach.
real baseball, right? You're playing
exactly.
competitive baseball.
Exactly.
Yeah. And which school you said it was?
Caldwell University.
Caldwell.
So like only 2% of the population plays collegiate stuff like that.
Yeah.
2% of the
breakdown's
whole.
wild. I've seen that whole
It's insane. So being that I had to really count on myself there and be my own, let's call it strength coach, you kind of dive in and you make your own mistakes and you kind of learn from those things and create those lessons that really catapult you forward. And through those lessons, it can be applicable to a multitude of things in life, whether it be family, sports, job, wherever you end up going. And then from there, I got into bodybuilding. I really loved the sport. Some of my closest friends are multiple time IFBB Pro champions. I'm friends with Jay Cutler, Guy Cisternino, all these guys. And you kind of really get focused into that. And that's at least from an aesthetic standpoint, very high level. But at least to me, I know you guys, wellness, to kind of go with the theme of the podcast here.
Yeah, well, that was our next question is what is that whole thing for you, right?
Yeah, and I mean, I think we'll even circle back, but so how long did you compete in bodybuilding? That's kind of your lifting style. You kind of just built your fitness around
exactly. So
training like a bodybuilder.
I think everybody wants to look good naked. That's like the first thing,
fact,
right?
Yeah.
Right. But I think as you get older, you come to the realization that I'm not a bodybuilder. Like bodybuilders are the most genetically gifted humans on the planet. Not only in terms of genetics and how insertions, their muscle bellies. Their work ethic alone is like otherworldly.
Yeah.
To eat the same thing every day at the same time, to get the same amount of sleep, like their regiment of that headset is just
Yeah.
Again,
It's like the discipline to want to do that. Yeah, the mindset to want to actually do that and be
Exactly.
okay, kind of kind of being in that caloric deficit or just being that regimented is just hard. It's a hard lifestyle to maintain.
Exactly.
For sure.
And at least to me, wellness isn't just like, oh, I look good. I think you have to take a very holistic approach: physical, mental, emotional, psychological. All 4 pillars really do mean a lot because it affects really all facets of your life, right? So if, let's say, you have a family, per se, right? You're physically there, you can protect your family, you can protect your kids, you can protect your wife. But if you're not mentally there and you're checked out, what the fuck's going on? If you're not emotionally there, what the fuck's going on? If you're not psychologically there. So I think it's on you as a human to want to become the best version of yourself, so you can kind of cover all 4 of those. So whomever you come into contact with, especially if you're running your own, let's call wellness clinic or gym or whatever, you can have that impact on other people and really leave your mark, let alone on yourself, but all the people you come into contact with.
Well, yeah, we talk a lot about optimizing yourself. There's like this, and to dumb it down almost. I had a football coach, my college football coach would say like, look good, feel good, play good, right? And I like to apply that to wellness as well, because it's if you look good and feel good, right? So if you're taking care of yourself in all these different facets, right? We have 8 dimensions that we define as wellness, but if you're taking care of yourself in all these different areas, right, you'll play good. So you can be a good parent. You can be good at your job, right? You can kind of chase these other things, but if you're not there, you're taking on stress, you're going to be brought down. Kind of all the different things that are going on. Kind of as we get into, right, you defined wellness. Kind of what do you do kind of for yourself to kind of optimize your well-being, right? To ensure that you're kind of pursuing this wellness journey.
I think for me, and I'm a big fan of David Goggins. I've read both of his books, cover maybe 2 or 3 times. And even as corny it is, like The Rock says, like I genuinely believe, I like getting up before everybody else. Dude, I may just run a mile or I may do cardio for an hour, but psychologically that kind of sets me up for that day. As small as people may think it is, it makes a substantial difference long term because as you compile those little accomplishments day after day, you do 10 push-ups a day for a month. Dude, that's almost 500 push-ups, or even if my math's incorrect, whatever. That's a substantial difference than what that other person's doing that may be your direct competition, whatever it may be. But if you do those little things every day, they compile and they kind of have that snowball effect. But for me personally, in the morning, cardio, breakfast, get to work as early as I can. If I was late today, sorry. But then get to the office and whatever after hours things that I can get done, I get done there, and then I take myself and do the weight training. Then afterwards, I try my best to decompress, whether it be I read 10 pages a day, whether I try and meditate. I suck at meditating. I always sucked at it. I have to get better at that. But it's trying, putting that effort and your best foot forward. And really just, like we said, trying to encompass every aspect of it. Like you said, you have your 8 pillars, right? I think having at least some semblance of foundation there for you to work off of so you can kind of gauge yourself and measure yourself helps, or else then you're just throwing shit against the wall.
So I think I had a couple questions in there. Being a baseball player myself, I started training for the sport. Learning how to train for the sport was a pitcher, always staying away from upper body lifting, all this different stuff, right? It was a whole big BS, game for then I'm like, oh wow, lifting makes me stronger all around. I should get into it, right? But for my whole track, trying to be an athlete didn't work out. Same for you, right? From baseball. And then for bodybuilding, those realizations you come across, right? For you, what are some points that you've had or things that you've had, like turning points you've had in your life, right? So what are some points where you say, all right, I'm going to be 100% regimented and kick myself in the ass every time I'm diverting off of my straight path to be a bodybuilder, right? And then you're like, wait a second, this isn't the life I want to live. This may not be me, my gift, whatever, right? My gift now is, influencing people. You have the podcast, you have everything you do now. So were there any pivotal points that you kind of right, psychologically, like the young Nick was like, all right, I'm going to shift here, I'm going to do this. Was there any big points for yourself that kind of you highlight as those shift points in your younger age and coming up, right?
So I think from a baseball standpoint, at least when in high school I was trying to get recruited, unfortunately for me, I didn't have the most proactive, let's call it recruiters. So I had to send demo tapes out to coaches. I wasn't Miles Jones, who's getting everyone knocking on his door saying, please play for me. I wasn't. I was really good. I like to think I was, but I wasn't, those guys who were getting recruited nonstop. So I really had to find a differentiation point. And that was the gym. That's really where I really found it. And once I saw like an uptick in my performance, and I would say my junior year is where everything really just clicked, because I kind of finally put everything together,
Gotcha.
baseball-wise. And then from there, it took off, thankfully. From a career standpoint, I think the last brand I worked with, you know, I had a really great opportunity to create multiple products, and I traveled the world from Dubai to Shanghai, China.
Wow.
We were supposed to go to Australia, UK, the whole nine. I was genuinely blessed for that experience. But I really wasn't, let's call it, armed with the right knowledge from a business standpoint. I was still very marketing. My background isn't even marketing. I'm in regulatory and legal. That's how I got my first foot in the door. Right?
Gotcha.
So I did that for about 3 years, and then I got an opportunity in sports nutrition. And then the pandemic hit. Everything happens for a reason. And then I found Tom Frank at VMI. And when I say the most knowledgeable and experienced businessmen, at least in this space, it's not even close. And I knew then, I was like, wow, I have a lot to learn.
Yeah.
And
That's incredible.
It's good to
Be
have.
surrounded by
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
But it's good to have that clarity,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
a lot of times I feel like we think that you think you know everything,
Of
right?
course.
Or you, right? It's like having this confidence as an athlete,
Yeah.
someone that's someone that's been in the gym. I
yeah.
can do this shit, right? But it's like having the mental clarity to say like, no, there's a lot for me to learn.
Yeah.
There's a lot that I need to do, right, to kind of reach this level. But that makes you kind of push yourself, right, to get there.
Yeah.
Start to know what you don't know.
Exactly.
Figure out more that you don't know.
Yeah, and it really starts. I will give this to myself. I don't ever really like patting myself on the back. I have a really good ability of being very honest with myself. Like if I know I'm not prepared to do something, or if I know like I don't know if I could, you know, make this move, or like I don't know if I should ask for this, or should I make this product? Should I, before VMI, should I interview for this job? Because I had several other opportunities to run businesses. I knew deep inside my gut that if I said yes to that position, I'd be fired within a month.
Yeah.
I didn't know what I was doing at that point. So
Yeah.
having those real conversations with yourself and really reflecting and being honest with yourself is so crucial to not only development career-wise, but psychologically. You're not saying your path will be easier by no means, but you'll avoid a lot of headaches if you just take your ego out of it and
I like
you
that.
just apply.
And I like what you're saying there. It's not a sense of don't take risks, don't take chances,
Yeah.
right? But it's check in with yourself, know what you're prepared for, and just make sure you're prepared for that opportunity.
And there's always going to be, like, if you're not nervous, that's when I would actually say then you just don't give a shit.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
it. I agree.
I like when we have big launches and big product launch. Granted, we launch like 6 flavors at once, and I can't plan anything out. Thanks, Tom. It's tough that way, but it really does create that challenge, and it does create that like.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it means,
like,
it means you care.
all
It
right,
means
here
you
we
give a
go
shit.
now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So when you do have that, that's good. I think that means you care, but you also have to be very honest with yourself and saying like, can I handle this? Can I not handle this? When you're making those crucial decisions, dude, it's like dating.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
are you dating this girl? Do you think that, you know, this is going to work out? I know deep down inside, you know, it's either it is or it's not.
Yeah.
Things may change, things may not. I think you should always take chances in life, especially from a career standpoint. But you have to be very honest with yourself and how you move forward, because you know if you're going to create a headache for yourself or not.
It's almost like the reality of it
Yeah.
versus the hope of the perspective or the vision you have that you want, right?
Yeah. And this goes to one of the questions that you kind of gave me a heads up on, was like the things with the fitness industry. It's not so much a thing that I don't like. What I see a lot of with people today, especially within fitness, and you guys can attest to this, because I know for a fact for both of you, health and wellness in general has been a pillar in your life since day one.
For sure.
Right? I would say within the past decade, this space has blown up into, respectfully, a fad.
Yeah.
It is now popular to be healthy. It is now popular to lift weights. It is now popular to go to a gym and take videos of whatever.
For sure.
I'm cool with that. It helps our business. Like, I'm so cool with that. But a lot of people like the idea of being a bodybuilder, not actually eating the same shit every day. A lot of people like the idea of starting their own business, but not taking the same risks you guys are, but expect a lot in return.
Yeah.
A lot of people like the idea of being a marketing guy. They have no idea the detail that goes into that. So I think, like me and my boss say this all the time, you know, action over intent. You have to have the actual want and need and discipline to do those things rather than just talking about it, because it's very easy for say, yeah, I'm gonna open up my own gym.
Of course.
I would love to open up my own gym. I'm not doing the shit you guys are doing. Hell no. I'm not taking that risk. But I think it says something that you guys have a plan, you want to do something, and you're executing it, and kind of, taking the bumps as they come.
Yeah, and you figure it out as you go.
Yeah.
No, man, that's really good points. Obviously, you gave us a lot to
Yeah.
a lot to work with there.
Yeah.
How did we get to VMI? What are you doing there? Kind of give us it. And I think that actually I have what I would like to kind of pivot into there is, so how are we doing? What's the role of VMI? Kind of what are you doing there? And how do you feel about? I know we talked about this. Kind of everyone's in fitness. It is kind of fatty. It seems like the place to be in. It seems like it's also a place that's easy to get into,
Yes.
right? Because you can just pop on Instagram and take pictures of yourself and pop your tripod up. So everyone just kind of wants to be in it. Everyone wants to sell programs online. So it leads us to this place where things could be watered down, but it gives us the opportunity for a lot of good people to be in the industry. But as you guys kind of compete, do you see that there's not good products in the marketplace that may be filled with other things where you guys are kind of given some better products? So give us a little background, kind of what you're doing with VMI, kind of what you see in the space from a good product standpoint, from like a saturation standpoint.
Yeah.
Take us through
there.
Of course. No, I mean the the role of director of marketing isn't. I will say it's the most fun job in the world because I get to do all the fun shit everybody wants to do.
Yeah.
I get to come on really cool podcasts like yours. I get to have my own. I get to be in all the videos and take all the pictures and do all the deals and stuff and shit like that. But there's, it's a lot more than videos. And across the street, Zach will tell you.
Yeah,
like,
for sure.
It's not just taking the nice videos of the drinks or whatever and the parties. Like, this guy's killing himself 24/7. Like, he's really putting his head down. But like, when it comes to a holistic approach of what we're doing, everything marketing standpoint, product launches, podcasts, new flavors, any type of activation you can think of marketing. I want you to look up when I leave VMI Sports and go to our Instagram. You're going to get lit up with emails, text messages.
Yeah, immediately.
Immediately.
Great.
So we take that approach of, we're going to talk to you, but at the same time, our customer lifetime value and our reorder rate is upwards of 70%. That's literally unheard of. I'm not kidding.
Yeah.
So like, people try our products, and I would say 70% of the time they're coming back. But our stuff is also at a premium. Like on our website, our 2-pound protein is for $53.99 right now currently. Not only because
that's not cheap for a 2 pound.
Yeah,
but
like,
it speaks to the quality then.
Exactly.
Right?
So like, we take pride in solving problems. Our whey protein isolate is 100% whey isolate. So it already digests very easily. A lot of people with lactose and dairy have digestion issues. Exactly. So we've added digestive enzymes to ease that process. But at the same time, after you work out, you're dehydrated, you're cramping. We've added pharmaceutical grade electrolytes. So all these things are like, there's really nothing else you really need. Have an apple and you're good to go.
Yeah.
So we're into problem solving. People, have an issue getting their energy levels up before they train, whether it's they need more pump, more focus, whatever. We have multiple facets of pre-workouts. We have an EAA. I actually am just trying a new flavor that we're launching tomorrow, Blue Shark Gummy, tremendous flavor. But we're into problem solving. I think that goes into business and supplements as a whole, is that a lot of people just come out with shit, and it's just like, this is my pre-workout. Well, what do you... What are you doing? What are you really solving here?
What's the goal here with your pre-workout? Because that's what we kind of, I think that we're both pro supplements, right? But it's what's the purpose of what you're putting in your body? Know it, right? So, because you can see some supplements that are going to have not even the appropriate amounts of the ingredients that they have, right? So they're giving you some creatine, but it's not the appropriate amount of creatine you even need to stimulate, right, the response. They're giving you caffeine, but maybe it's not even the appropriate amount of caffeine. Or it's just beta-alanine, so you feel like something's happening, but nothing's happening, right? So it's an industry where you see a lot of products come out, but the good ones, obviously, they speak for themselves.
Exactly. So I think also, too, like, I'm also a consumer. Thankfully, I work for a supplement company, so that's kind of taken care of from that aspect. But I think, and we said this on our podcast, ironically, like, there's a lot of bad apples out there. So a lot of people don't know dietary supplements are not FDA approved. So like, it's not like a pharmaceutical drug or Tylenol or Advil where they go to FDA submission, we need to get this submitted. And some of these things, like, by the way, like, just in general, the things that FDA approves,
we know.
You can't approve a greens powder, but you can approve this that's going to burn a hole in someone's stomach and possibly give them cancer. It's ridiculous. Anyway, but they're not FDA approved, so you really have to do your part as a customer to do your research, see what the reliable brands are, Who's FDA inspected, GMP certified, all these things. Do your research. A lot of people that ask us questions. Obviously, customer service, we are there 1,000%. Any question you have, we will have the answers to. But a lot of our consumers, as educated as they are, which is vastly more than they were 5-6 years ago, because now it's popular. People are starting to learn, which is great. But people still don't do their research, and I encourage you. There's like, for instance, creatine still has a negative name. Creatine's the most studied ingredient on the
we have this conversation
crazy,
on the
face of the
members,
earth.
anyone, regularly, just about creatine. I take 5 milligrams every day at some point in time during the day. But that's kind of being the basis of it, that it is the most studied supplement ever,
literally ever.
And there's still, it still has this negative connotation.
Yeah,
I think people still go back to like the high school kid that's taking it.
Yeah,
and think like
sneaking in his locker.
it's
like, got the creatine.
You're on
it's like-
steroids. Your
yeah,
mom's like, what are you
exactly.
taking?
and like there's rumors of hair loss. There's rumors of it's a steroid. There's rumors of this or that. Creatine's a wonderful supplement that everyone should be taking, men and women.
Yeah.
Builds muscle, ATP storage, intracellular hydration, which is a common misconception that it just fills your muscle with water. It doesn't. It pulls water from your skin intracellularly to help hydrate your muscles, refill your ATP storages, more energy from a cellular level, not caffeine type energy. More strength, endurance equals more pumps, more muscle gain, everything. It's literally amazing what that can do alone. But obviously, there's supplements. They should supplement your diet. So I
really good point, and I think we'd love, right? We can touch on that as well. One other thing with creatine, right? They've seen studies that it's actually improving kind of memory capacity.
Cognition.
Yeah. Like, so this supplement that, right, most studied supplement that's
readily
on the
available,
market,
by the way.
Yeah, and
Very cheap.
still has negative connotation. Is not spoken about the positives, but we talk about it making you retain water. It doesn't make you gain weight. Is it steroids, right? Like, it's like what conversation?
There's
is that
also
happening?
naturally bioavailable in proteins, steaks, right?
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you touched on that.
So that's the good thing too, right?
Yeah.
Is that we can get a lot of these things that are naturally available. So like, for instance, do you really need whey protein? Not really. Do I think it's optimal that you supplement with it because it's really hard to get in 250 grams of protein a day? Yeah, it's tough. Like eating that much chicken and steak, you could even argue that that's a lot of chicken and steak.
How many meals are you going to eat?
Exactly. So I think having a shake with some simple carbs post workout, I think that's really the most optimal way to go about it. But at least with these things, we know that they're supplements. They should supplement your diet and your nutrition and your lifestyle in general for sure wellness.
I appreciate that coming, and my fault, but I appreciate that coming from you, right? You were the head of marketing at a supplement company and still saying, utilize these as supplements. Supplement your healthy living, your healthy diet already to optimize it. You have a lot of people that you have to have conversations about that being the first thing they think about. Should I take a creatine? I'm very pro creatine, but if you don't have the other stuff figured out, let's figure out that first before you start thinking about supplements, right?
And that's what I tell, we'll have people call the building and they'll just be like, well, I have a question. I just give Nick whatever, so I pick up the phone. And they're asking me all these questions, and I listen, I'm from New York, so my first is to pick out what you're saying wrong. So it's like, well, what's your diet look like? Oh, well, I got, the wife and the kids, and, I'm not eating too clean. I was like, well, let's figure that out first. Let's figure out the diet and nutrition first, and then take that step forward. What can we do to supplement that to kind of really amplify your progress and to supplement your health and wellness moving forward? Rather than just saying, I'm going to eat and drink whatever I want. I'm taking creatine, but I'm good. So I think it's really, again, having those honest conversations with yourself so that you can have they're really layup answers. Like, this is the thing that a lot of people don't get, is that I've really tried to adopt, a kind of like an A to B mindset. Like, I know what I have to do to get to that, pillar or whatever it may be, but a lot of people like to go to A to B, then to get to C. Just go to fucking B. You're there. Just what you have. Just do the research.
Come back to honesty with people, right? It's like I feel like people don't train themselves to be so honest with themselves to know how they work, right? They always want to make an excuse, do something that they immediately feel like doing, right, emotionally, rather than just get the task done. Do the thing that you need to do, and do another thing that you need to do until you keep doing what you need, right? You should always chill, do things you enjoy, right? Still emotionally, right? But it's creating that. I think two things, right? One, off of that for you personally, where was, right, obviously coming probably from that gym always into fitness, kind of then looking to bodybuilding, that intensity mindset, right? You probably live with that, right? But where's that balance for you when you're winding down at night, when you're trying to personally take a dive? That's question number one. Number two, so don't forget, just want to put this out there, right? Any supplement recommendations? What are the top couple of supplements that you do recommend for a generic person, right? If their diet is getting there and they're eating pretty well, right, and they feel like they want to make a couple of changes, things that can optimize their diet. So number one, right? Take me through your approach if you're like
For winding down?
For winding down, right? For your own kind of living life balanced, right? With the intensity of work, getting things done. For them, right? As best. No, but that's right, because no one really has balance, right? Everyone's got the kids, the company, the this, the that, 2 podcasts, trying to run marketing, traveling like crazy, right? How do you even sit down? I struggle with sitting down to read 5 pages of a book, right? Like, how do you get there? What do you do, right? What's your mindset?
So I think I would say, like let's say we're on an interview, right? Like, what are your weaknesses, Nick? My biggest weakness is really just shutting it off. Okay. I have a hard time, let's say, going home and be like, shit, I forgot to answer that email. Let me call that customer really quick. Or, oh, fuck, I forgot to like get that product back on the page. I have to edit this video. Like, it's one of the things that comes with wearing so many hats is that you try and get everything done at once, and you really have to, again, have an honest conversation with yourself. I have Superman syndrome. I try and help and fix and do everything every day to everybody. But eventually, like, fortunately, I guess, the big man upstairs kind of sent me a message to pull back. I've had some, like, let's call it health, not issues, but like hold up, bro. Yeah. To kind of say, dude, it's caused by psychological stress. You need to, like, take your foot off the gas at least for a couple months to kind of just heal. So let's say, thankfully, I've had those. So it's really forced me to incorporate this is very recent too. This is so ironic.
Okay. Hope happy you're good.
Yeah.
Amazing. No, happy you're good, but right in a reality concept, right? Share as much as you want with that because right, if you're comfortable, because this is everyone deals with this shit, right? No matter where you are, what you're doing.
Yeah, man.
It comes back to your check-in point.
Exactly. Well. So like I would say about 3 months ago, I always felt as a kid I would get, like, let's call it heart palpitations on the mound. So like, love you, Dad. My dad has AFib. He doesn't really give a shit that I say that. But like, so it's genetic. Sorry, I love you so much. Motherfucker, it's my business. So like, you know, I was concerned, so I went to go get my heart checked. Thankfully, everything's fantastic. I take a lot of care of the supplements I take, my diet. I do as much cardio as I can every day solely for that fact. But I had a little bit of scare. I thought I had something. I don't. But I encourage everyone, if you think you have something wrong, if you're not really sure, don't second guess, because you really don't know, because everyone's time on this planet is very limited. So I encourage you, whatever it is, get it checked. So I had a little bit of a hiccup there, so I was like, let me just go get that checked. Thankfully, we're good to go. But I would say literally 2 weeks ago, like, my vision in my right eye has been like off. So then I was like, what the fuck's going on? So I'm reading my David Goggins book, and I'm like this. I'm like, that's fine. Yeah. I go like this, and the fucking book is 2 feet back. Yeah. I'm like, what is this shit? And then I go get it checked, and I call my mom. I'm like, what the fuck? Do you know what's going on? She's like, I'm seeing dots. She's like, go to the doctor, you idiot. I'm like typing away as I'm on the phone. She's like, stop working. So I went to the doctor, and he's like, hey, you have fluid behind your retina, so that's why everything's pushing back. This is one of the, like, really 2 or 3 things in medicine in general that are literally caused by psychological stress. Wow. I was like, is it screen time? Is it too much blue light? I wear blue light glasses. I'm afraid of that. I put, like, the little gold thing on your phone that stops radiation. He's like, dude, it's not that.
Everything you can do.
So he's like, dude, like, it's stress. You need to de-stress, bro. Like, you need to, like, dude, get more than 4 hours.
Like, no, you could actually control it yourself.
Dude, just de-stress. So like, I've been really, very recently, within the past 3 weeks, trying to do my best to, when I go home, when I leave, just shut the fuck up. I don't shut my phone off. It's impossible, or else I'm just gonna get yelled at the next day. But like, I put it on either do not disturb, or like, I make sure to get to bed at least 9:30.
Yeah. And have you shut down? That's it, right?
Like, I won't
looking
go on,
at your phone, right?
Yeah, no. Like, I'll listen. I'll look at my phone. I'm still 31, so like, social media is a thing. Whatever. But at the same time, work-wise, like, I do my best to just shut it off. Like, emails I won't answer after 6 o'clock, and I won't answer anything before 8 o'clock. So like, I've kind of tapered
some boundaries for yourself.
But that's also a health thing, a wellness pillar, right? Definitely. Is that you need to have very honest conversations with yourself and create boundaries, not only with yourself, but everyone that's in your little circle. Like, I take pride that I have such a I literally have 4 friends, if that. Like, my circle's very small. So I think also setting boundaries to everyone outside of that
Yes.
is very important, especially for work-life balance. Because if you don't have anyone to share this shit with, what is it even worth?
Of course.
Like it's great. Yeah, I do
caught up
marketing
in
for
it.
a multi-million-dollar brand. I'm single as fuck. I got no one to share with that.
Yeah.
I want those things one day. So like if I'm not here to share that, like, you know.
Yeah. Well,
So I think
you
it's
doing?
also having that perspective with yourself to say like, hey, like work is great, accomplishments are awesome, but like you have to put shit in perspective, or else one day like
Where are you 30 years from now, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it really depends on how do you define your own happiness. So really all goes from there.
love that, man.
Yeah.
We
hear that.
appreciate you having you.
Thanks, man.
You know, thank you for coming by.
Appreciate
You know,
you.
right? Busy day. You got a lot. You got podcasts, running marketing for a big company. So we appreciate the time.
Appreciate it.
the insight. Thank you, brother.
Thanks
where
for having
can,
me, man.
Where can people find you, right? And where should be directed?
Yeah.
You personally to
Oh,
the
awesome.
brand. Where
Yeah,
podcast.
you guys can follow me at Nick.Karalekas, or just look on anything VMI Sports. My mug is there. So
And that's last name, just so they know, Karalekas.
Alekas.
Yeah.
Cool.
They put out a lot of content.
Yeah.
Go check it
And
out.
You'll see his
What
podcast.
and what
his
new flavors
profile.
are dropping? Let's let
We
them know.
dropped greens and reds in raspberry lemonade, chocolate, and strawberry kiwi. We're dropping Blue Shark gummy aminos. We just dropped peach mango rings pre-workout the other day, and then we also cinnamon toast crunch proteins back in stock
Nice.
today.
Love
So,
that.
yeah, a lot of product came in
love to
today.
get some of that.
Yeah. Appreciate it, brother.
Of course, man.
Thank you guys again for joining the Eight Well podcast, the Well Life podcast. We'll see you again next week.
Cool.